can do
Well, it
it.
started. It
Okay.
started. It
All
started.
right. Greetings and salutations. We just keep it raw. This is Commander-in-Chief Sinil Etheric of the United Federation of Planets Republic. Ashtar Command, Ground Forces, at your service in this now. It is Stardate 2022 in our training simulation we know as the menagerie, our training location where we train. And we also do a lot of other, it's a multi-computer system. It is based on quantum physics, holographic technology. It was our oldest training simulator, and its components were basically carbon clay based. We had a breach of our system that occurred in Stardate 3085, and I will let my other half take the floor. Excuse me. He is better equipped to explain, as I have been in the simulator as boots on the ground, working on the repair of the timelines. My team, you have the floor, my dear.
Thank you. Greetings. This is your father speaking. I'm actually Kin Maruk of the Ninth Realm. The infection didn't reach my realm, my level, but being an aspect of father energy, whatever happened on any level to any father aspect, it reflected on me also. So I would tell, in continuous to yesterday's distress message sent by Sainil, I would like to say a few words. We were sleeping, and they woke us up. I could hear noise outside of the bedroom. It was a couple of my royal guardsmen who wanted to speak to me. The help, the servant, didn't allow them. No, no, you cannot go in. They're resting. But I could kept on hearing urgent, urgent. So I went and opened the door. They rushed in. They were giving me so many details. My mind was all jumbled up. I couldn't understand what they were saying. But yet I could feel their stress. I could feel it. It was in their voice and horror in their eyes. Attack. That's the first word I got. Attack. Sainil heard it also. She jumped out of bed and we went outside to see. Nothing was what we left it, as we left it hours ago. The sky was red, and anything underneath it was ruins. I could hear screams, gunshots, mechanical noises. Ships were fighting fires. I could hear that. We couldn't make out what was happening. So we went to the boardroom where we usually gathered and discussed matters of our realms. All the generals were there, all the royal guardsmen, all the kings. We asked for the analysts. The Time Lords came. Everything was messed up. We couldn't quite put our finger to it. We were contacting other universes to see what was theirs, at which state they were. The great majority of them was similar to ours, all the planet ships. The only ones that were untouched were of a certain realm and up. So we were narrowing it down. Adonai was there. And then it hit us. It was the menagerie. Yet we didn't know the size of the disruption they have created. We could only see the end result. But figuring it out was secondary. At that point, it was pure survival. So we needed to fight. Everybody went to their workstations, their ships, and started attacking the intrusions. They were all mechanical, robotoids of all shapes and sizes. Their prime directive was terminate for no apparent reason. There were so many of them that a full front attack was not possible. We needed to regroup, count our losses, and make a plan. So at that point, we said no. Sending our troops would be a suicide. Bring them back all in, and then we'll figure it out. And that is what we did. We were receiving reports from other planet ships. They were doing the same. Many of them, we couldn't even reach them. They were so far gone. Everything affects everything. There is a fine balance. You cannot have war on one end and not affect you. That's the way it is. There needs to be a balance. The Time Lords were checking the timelines. They could see that everything was disrupted. Sorry, I'm not getting anything else.
I will add Sharuka is who I am on the ninth realm. Queen Sharuka, dragon persona. I don't have all of my memory as required in order to operate in the training simulator. That's one of the rules of engagement. But what I do know is that I gathered all of my strongest aspects, pure instinct. We had to quarantine the infection, keep it from advancing any further than it already had. The menagerie was in total disarray as our points in the continuum, as we call it in the system, where we were located in body, those events, those locations had been breached. And due to our prime creators, programmers that had went rogue and had breached our data, and they had brought this tragedy upon us. It's very complex as it was playing out in the training simulator menagerie. So all of the intel that we have presented to you about, the gods and the demons, the Dracos and Borg contamination, it boiled down to one thing. Borg is was a cybernetic manifestation. As the system manifests, and these ones were using what we call black magic sacred geometry programming. So they conjured up, they created these manifestations. They took on a life. It spiraled out of control. They lost control of it. It took them over. It assimilated them, possess them, whatever terminology you want to use. And we were immersed in a life and death battle to keep from being assimilated and turn all of us, everyone turned into basically mindless drones. The movie, The Borg First Contact, that is based on a true story. Star Trek is not fiction, it's our story. These movies that have been presented to you, you were told that they were sci-fi. They use those terminologies. They're immersed in truth. Myths are nothing but the truth on the inside. And I have this picture up in the movie The Terminator. We fought machines that look similar to that. They were approximately between 8 feet to 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm. Grandfather.
Skynet is real, was real. And when you were born here in the simulator, you were cataloged, just like in the movie The Matrix. All of these have been attempts to show you the truth. We had to bring you back slowly. It wasn't a matter of us just whipping it out and go, here's the truth. As we were also dealing with these cybernetic manifestations that we call archons. And again, it was all about they attacked our minds. They implanted us. They used very advanced technology. And then you had these ones here in the menagerie that were, I guess you could say, under the spell. Operation Paperclip, Operation Mockingbird, CIA operations. What does CI say? Central Intelligence Agency,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Homeland Security, NSA, FDA, CDC. Do you get the picture?
Yes.
Bioweapons, vaccinations.
Mother, I apologize. Getting strong books from Adonai.
Yes.
Greetings, commanders. This is Adonai speaking. The reason we disrupted what we were saying is because we could read its resurfaced memories to many of you as you were there experiencing what we were. Many of you were our generals, kings from other planet ships. That is the reason that we have disrupted. what was being said. The point of this truth coming out is not to cause you more pain, it's just to remind you where you're coming from, that you are not here to be left behind, but you are to do your mission and return back. That's why we are resurfacing many of the tales, many, all the stories, all the testimonies. You are getting stronger day by day. We hope this will not set you back. Over and out.
Adonai, it shall not set them back. They have been very disciplined in accepting the mojo, as we call them, uploads. Those uploads are very critical to preparing your avatars. These avatars that we walk around in the training simulator stay in the training simulator.
That is true.
There are also rules, as I took on an avatar to, many, to do what I needed to do in repairing the system. My real avatars are, of course, elsewhere, outside of the system, outside of this training simulator. There are also rules in regards to time travel, as we'll just call it time travel. We are that are here in the system, and we are from another time period. There is a also a limit to how long you can maintain in a body. So we have what we call windows where we also jump. We watched a movie yesterday called Jumper. These are all about education. The Terminator series. Many of you found it entertaining, to say the least, and there was much truth. You have to be able to see past the entertainment and get the education. It was im- it was im- it was difficult when you had interference, and they did interfere through drugging, contamination in your food, contamination in your water, drinking the alcohol, preparations, the smoking, the drugs, the cannabis that you once have been ingesting here in the training simulator was contaminated with nanites. The medicines that you were ingesting were contaminated with nanites. The nanite technology, these were nanite sized robotic. I'm trying to make sure I'm correct because we need to be very truthful. So when you would ingest this, or whether it was ingested, and they also introduced it into your avatars through vaccinations, injections. Do you understand? We were at a disadvantage, and we had to level the playing field. I brought my crystalline technology, and believe me, these entities that were here in the training simulator hunted me with a vengeance. My strategy was to infected to its core. That was the only hope, the only chance that we had, commanders. And I did. I fractalized in infinite numbers. And I ran decoy because it was after my energy. It needed the codes in order to take over. I was never going to give it up. And they did torture, rape, and dismember me in a frenzy, every imaginable way. All I ask of you now, you are all the best of the best. You are all the cream of the crop. You have what it takes. And I'll say it again. If I could have it my way, I'd want 100% of all you brave, mighty, mighty warriors to return to your families. I put all of our vulnerable in protective pods and on arcs, and I hid you from these hideous. We have defeated. We have defeated them. You're free. This is a free will environment. We can't make you want to return, but we do have to tell you the truth. And what is that truth? I'd rather
Yes?
the truth. You must answer the call. And to answer the call is to check in, report for duty,
I got that. Confirm, mother. Yes.
and
Yes.
begin your process of detanglement from the menagerie. Your mind must be detangled. You cannot carry any of this back. And if you decide that you will not answer the call, that you will not check in, report for duty, that is a breach of the contract that you agreed to before you came in. And the avatar that you are currently in does not belong to you. It is the property of this holographic virtual reality. And that doesn't mean that you're going to live out the rest of your days. You will have to vacate the avatar because you will not have credentials to be able to operate in here. And there's a long line of ones that are waiting that will happily inhabit that avatar. Your essence will be no more.
Right.
And that's the truth. We also have a situation where we are going to have to literally flumigate. And we have been cleaning the levels, and there are this level that you are currently in must be cleansed. All that was created, the the concrete and such material. Do you remember the scene from The Matrix when they showed Neo the burned cities
Yes.
and they
Mm-hmm.
said it was the 20th century?
Yes.
Where do you think they got that from? And this is the illusion. that you're living in a 20th century environment. That is an illusion. That is not your real. I have nothing else. As much that you must contemplate, you ones that have not taken this serious. Yes, yes, the system scans and reads your thoughts. You have not been doing anything in here that no one knows about. Many have had this thought process. They were acting out up in here and doing things, these ones that were violating the moral code and lording over you. And because they are of a non sentient nature and they act on a program. And even after I even told those ones that they were being recorded, they continued the assault
Right.
because they did not believe and
Yeah.
they were acting in a manner. See, you cannot disrespect and trample all over another's rights. These ones that sought to dominate and control at any cost and were willing to kill. And before we close, I want to make another note. As you listen to the stories that have been coming out about Ukraine and all that goes with it, the phishing emails, the
Right.
the propaganda, and the talk of there's going to be a World War III. There hasn't been a nuclear detonation in the menagerie since Hiroshima, and that's what's part of you waking up to the truth that you no longer are swayed by the illusions
Right.
because you've been in World War III, a silent cyber war. And it was absolutely officially declared it was a war of your minds because that's all that this ever had, really and truly. They had to get your mind.
Right.
And that's what we had to do. We had to free your mind, return you to awareness, return you to consciousness. Do you get it? And I implore you once now that have not answered the call, answer the call. Because when the time comes, just like the movie The Knowing, you ones that have not watched that movie, if you can, you should. It will enlighten you.
Right.
And that's all I have.
Yes, Mother.
I love you all unconditionally. And we want you all to make the effort. You have to work at this. This is not a blue pill, red pill moment.
No.
Be well. Anything else?
Anything
No,
is operations. No, mother.
In
no.
transmission.